Hello, everyone, and welcome to Field Notes. My name is Sara Russell, and I'm a soil scientist in Nacogdoches, Texas, and I'm the Field Notes Regional Representative for the South Central Survey Region. As a regional representative, I serve on the Field Notes Review Committee. The Review Committee solicits and selects topics for each webinar. We have selected one exciting topic for today's live event, but first, let's go over a few housekeeping items. This is a Microsoft Live event, not a Teams meeting, which means you are joining today's webinar in listen-only mode. We encourage you to ask questions at any time using the Q&A panel. The Q&A panel should open by default. However, if for some reason it does not, your Q&A panel can be opened by simply clicking on the question mark icon located in the upper right side of your screen. For closed captions, turn on the live caption button located in the lower right corner. Today's session is being recorded. Recorded sessions are available in Teams on the Field Notes channel and in the Soil and Plant Science Division's YouTube channel. Again, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy today's session. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the Field Notes moderator, Neil Dominy, to tell you a little bit more about today's webinar. Take it away, Neil.
All right. Thank you so much, Sara. Appreciate that introduction. I'm Neil Dominy, and I am here as the moderator. And today we have a couple folks that are going to join us. The title of the presentation is Request Region Checkout Form and GIS MLRA and Region Checklist. Brought to you by Matt Dorman, SBSD Special Projects Region, and Alena Stevens at our very own NSSC Soil Business Systems staff. All right, Matt, go ahead.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll be sharing our new Region Request Tool Checkout form, also known as the Request Tool. In addition, we'll be going over the GIS MLRA Region Checklist Form 2. Here with me is Alena Stevens, who will be demonstrating. So we'll start with giving a little bit of backstory on why we made this tool. So over 30% of all special project region projects statistically will have duplicate checkouts or versioning conflicts because urban cities are located on the coast and share the same soil survey area. Excuse me. This means that our urban and coastal projects are competing for the same soil survey area checkout boundary. In addition, special projects urban and coastal zone projects are competing for the same soil survey checkouts as the MLRA office in the regions. And moving over the map here, you can see, looking at our USDA's authoritative data, we get our census urban areas and coastal zone areas. And these are the soil survey areas within the coastal zone, and these are the soil survey areas within the urban or the urban lands within the soil survey areas, excuse me. And then this is a quick look at the overlap. So this is the 30%, so where the red is over the purple. Now, so it's imperative that all region GIS specialists are aware and informed of this complexity. In addition, special projects provide spatial and tabular QA/QC assistance with the work involved in all coastal and urban projects nationally. Special projects intends to facilitate and reduce the occurrence of duplicate checkouts or versioning issues and eliminating out-of-cycle refreshes while working with all regions and complement their current workflows. Alena, would you mind sharing your screen, please? Yes. While she's loading that up, I will share about the region request checkout form. Right. The intent of the request tool is for any MLRA office to utilize This is so that it can assist regions organizing and facilitating checkout project boundaries. Excuse me. The tool is automated to email the project information to the regional GIS specialists involved to request the file geodatabase. Most special project region projects requested don't conform to the typical soil survey area. They will have modified areas. This is one of the reasons why Special Projects Region is using this tool. The tool itself is intended to be used by the MLRA offices once their NSSC projects have been approved by the tech team. This is a visual to identify project areas with multiple managers and reduce duplicate checkouts and versioning issues. This is not connected to the checkout database. It's a visual to help facilitate the checkout areas. This tool can be used as an instrument for MLRAs to request their checkout data and provide a clear and concise spatial product to reinforce region-to-region communication. This tool comprises of live requests of projects, locations, and status. It's a hub for regional GIS specialists to track where all projects are spatially. And Alena's got a demo for you.
All right, thank you, Matt. And before we start the demo, you may be asking, where can I get this? And we will share the link at the end of the presentation, but there's one that if you don't have it bookmarked, or if you forget if you didn't save a bookmark, it is accessible from our NRCS Soil and Plant Science Division SharePoint, which you can access it from, click on Data Resources, click on Soils, and scroll down, and here it is, Soils, Data and Information Links. And then it is also accessible one other spot at the Soils GIS SharePoint that is linked from the NRCS GIS SharePoint. We have a Soils page on there, and it is accessible at the bottom of it. So there's two different spots. If you ever have those bookmarked, you can access those locations. And something else to point out, that you will need permissions. If you don't already have an ArcGIS Online account, you can access it, request one from FPAC Service Now, and from the Geospatial Enterprise Operations, Geospatial Help Desk Services, and you would just say you need an AGOL account and enter the request that you need a user account. If you have a viewer account, you will need to update it to a user account, because a viewer cannot edit it, do any edits within ArcGIS Online, and you would need to be able to edit to be able to complete this process we're going to show you. All right, so now I'll demo where it's at. So here's the Soil Data and Information Links page, and we're just going to talk about the region request checkout form and the GIS MLRA and region checklist form in this demo, but please feel free to explore any of these links and any of these other pages when you use this page. So I'm going to mention this map on the right, which is accessible and interactive, and this map is linked to those two forms we're going to discuss. And you can zoom in, zoom out, go anywhere you want. And there's all these icons on the right, so you can access and change layers and legend and turn things off and on. So you'll be able to use the different layers in this map. And you can also change the base map layer if you want. So there's other features over here, zoom in, zoom out, location that you can use. And you can also, which will show this too, you can click on the point in it. These are ones that we've already been submitted for this fiscal year, and it shows the information in it. And there are links that link back to the LIMS reports that are set up by the project ID. And so I have one demo shown right here, right now, linked, but they were a little slow, so I went ahead and opened it. So I opened it from the bottom up here. And so right now we'll do the demo for the region request checkout form, and we'll click on it. All right, So this, when you open it up, you have the link back to the main page that we were just on, so you can click back and go there if you need to. We have the lookup project name, which you will use in the third question. And then the map is accessible, and you can zoom in, zoom out, and it will have the FIPS area symbol and the name of the county in there if you ever need to look up this information as you're filling this out. And this is for the project offices to request the file geodatabase that they want to edit. And we created this so you're going to email your regional GIS specialist anyway to ask for a form. And since we wanted to spatially track some of the projects too for special projects, we combined the two things into one. So, and also the help document is linked into here. It's stored on Teams and the NSSC team in the mobile data collection channel folder. And you'll get a link to that later too. So a lot of this form is set up to be automated. So it's set up to be automated for today's date. And any of these fields you can change. Most of them you probably want to leave the defaults and then modify as needed. So today's date is already filled in. The fiscal year default is for this fiscal year. When we switch to 2025, the default will be 2025. But any of this can be edited and altered. And then the project name is, we want the exact project name that is used in NSSC. So you can click on the link, and you're probably very familiar with using this. And I'm going to use an old project that I'd worked on several years ago, and I'm going to copy and paste it as for my demo. And so you can just copy and paste it. So then you have the exact name for the regional GIS specialist. And then here's the project type. And you will see the new ones that have been discussed recently. And it will still have some of the old ones listed in here because we had created this form before they came out with the newer ones. So we left them listed because the projects were already created. And here you can check as many options as you want that relate to your project. And so it kind of just helps with tracking and for the regional GIS specialists. And for this one, since I'm going to do the urban project demo, I'm going to do special edits with the urban. And Matt, you wanted to add some information on this.
Yep, quick recap. Sorry about that. My mic was off. When you go to select your NSSC project in that report, to find
Matt,
the name.
The
Yep.
project types.
Oh, thank you. What I was going to say on that, project types, the urban and coastal zone projects are in the soil inventory classification, and you can look for like ecological site is also in there, and there's abbreviations for on the buttons themselves to identify what group goes where. So that'll help you look up, and we've got that PDF to reference the project types, subtypes, milestones to reference.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
All right. So one of the crucial next thing you need to do on the form is to put a point on your map. And why you need to put this point in, it's going to fill in. I'm going to scroll down a little and show you these fields are blank right now. And they will be blank until I click on this map and I zoom in and pick my area. And then it should, once I add my point in, this is where my urban project is, and it automatically filled in this information for me. And you can double check, make sure everything's correct, and you can fix anything if something shows up incorrect. You can modify it and check it. And so region is something, it has to be, you have to put a region in. And if you're working with special projects, check special projects for urban or coastal projects that you're working with so that they get the message. And why region is so important, because the automatic email that sends after the form is submitted, it will send, is based off this, and will send to these people that are identified for the region. And for this purposes, I'm going to uncheck Northeast, so Wendy does not receive that email since it's just a demo, and Matt will get the email for special projects. Let's see how it works. So the MLRA is 111, so that filled in automatically, and you can add more MLRAs, because I know some projects will cover more MLRAs, so please, you will have to type those in manually if you need to add more. The office requesting the data was Indianapolis, and all right, here's the tricky part, which can be a little tricky, and it's set up this way for a script that will run in the background after the form is submitted, and so we have to set it up like this. So the state is Indiana, it's already set, and the area symbol for the first survey is IN097, and that came from my point up here on the map. So my project has more than one area symbol, so I need to add it. So what I do is I click the plus, and it will add a number 2. And what I do is I just go in and edit and add in my other area symbols. And this is where I'm talking about, if you don't know all your area symbols, zoom into your location and look at it. So if you don't have them memorized. And let's see, I'm going to add this other project area symbol, IN057, and my project also included 81, so I'm going to include that. So I entered 4 area symbols, and that is what shows up right down here for area symbols of requested data. The 4 show up, and this is just a no option and is not editable. It just shows what was entered from above, so you can see what you did and make sure it's all correct before you submit. Okay, then one of the last questions is, does this project area scope overlap another MLRA region, office and region? The default answer is set on no, but it will be yes if you are working on a project and it overlaps with another region or MLRA office, and it will be yes if you're working on a special projects office working with special projects, because that will be an overlap. And then it pops up with another question. Did you notify your neighbor, office, or region of this area that you're working on the project? If you clicked yes, great job, you can move on to notes. If you click no, if you didn't notify them, then you're going to get a red note that says, please notify your neighbors of the project within their area. All right, and then the last thing is notes. And notes you can use to put in any information that you want to send to your regional GIS specialist, or maybe you want to make notes to yourself to send. But whatever you send will be stored in the feature class on ArcGIS Online. And so I'm just going to put demo, and then I'm going to submit. And Matt, do you have any additional comments to add?
Yeah. Now we're ready for the quick recap. All right, so when we go to select the NSSC project, only the approved projects will be shown in that report list. So you want to make sure if it's not there, then you gotta check in NSSC that it is approved a project. And right now, this tool, we're not using it to track tabular projects. This is used specifically for spatial projects with the geodatabase checkout. The urban and coastal projects are inventory project types. All urban and coastal spatial projects, you want to select the special projects region, so all the folks are informed of that project. And let's say if you have 2 projects that are adjacent, to one. They're two different projects, but are adjacent to one another, and you'd like to request just one geodatabase, that's fine. Just include that in that note section that Alena had shared earlier. Also, we've got an option if you've got a raster project going on and like to notify your region of that's also available, and Suzanne will be notified. And last but not least, once you submit the report, if you don't immediately see your soil survey areas highlighted in blue, that's because the script is ran once a day. So the next day you'll see it there for sure. That's what I had for that. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to show the email that came across while Matt was talking. Almost instantly, you may have seen it pop up on my screen. So here's the email that it sent, and it sent it to me because it uses my email login. And then Matt, since he was special projects for the region, it went automatically to him. If I'd left it to Northeast, Wendy would have received it. And I'm included on the email just because I'm in the admin to the forms, and I just want to make sure everything's functioning the way it should. So I will get the email too. And so it's saying I'm requesting a file geodatabase to edit. The area symbols are included in the list, so the regional GIS specialist knows which ones to retrieve from their regional transactional database to create the database for you to edit. And then the project name is included, the fiscal year, and the project type, the region, the MLRA, and then the office. So it's all the information that we were recorded is included, and your notes are down there. And then it also includes the links back to the survey, back to the form. So if you need to access it anytime and forget where it's at, you have it stored in that email too. All right. And then it is back to you, Matt.
Thank you. All right, here's a good segue to introduce the GIS MLRA region checklist form. So to further assist with the live project requests, location, and status, we have the GIS MLRA region checklist form, or for short, the GIS checklist. This tool provides clarification of what tasks need to be reviewed, recorded, and completed before submitting for publication. It's intended to be used for any soil scientist or MLRA project leader for completion before submitting their geodatabase to their regional GIS specialist for upload. The regional GIS specialists, SDQS, and/or senior soil scientists can also use it to track progress for completed work. Regional GIS specialists can also use it to track their progress for upload if they choose to. Most regions have a dozen spatial projects going on at once. Work progresses at different speeds for each project. So this can help track the status and keep organized as to what's been completed and what's left to do. The GIS checklist provides transparency of what's expected from the field offices, for example, metadata imagery used, and also provides multiple note sections. If problems arise, they can be recorded and later resolved. Like the previous tool, this one is fitted with auto-populated features. Click on your project pin on the map and all the needed data will automatically be generated in that form. The last thing to do is run through the spatial QC checks and then record it in the form when it's completed. So back to you for demo 2.
All right, thank you. So to access that form, it is on the main page, and it is the second option, the GIS MLRA and region checklist form, and you can just click on it and it will open. And you will see when Matt was talking that the blue area symbols were filled in the information, and so they turn blue on this file, so we know they're part of that project. And the point showed up after submission, and you can click on it and use the information. All right. And before I clicked on it, you would have noticed all this was blank. I'm gonna go back and redo that. Didn't mean to click on it yet. Oh, refresh. And reload. Sorry about that. I got ahead of myself. So, as Matt explained, this can be used by the MLRA office and GI specialists or SDQS for the QC QA. So, what you can do, you see it's blank. And what you can do is when it's time to make any updates about your project, you can select the point. And the neat thing about this is when this form was built for Survey 123, and I will note, you can open this in Survey 123 and do it, but you just won't have the map on the right side. And this will work for either form, both forms. But so you can click on this point and it will preload this stuff because both forms are accessing one feature class stored on ArcGIS Online. So we can use, you just don't see all the questions when you're accessing the first form. They're hidden until you get to the second form and this one. So you see that it loaded in the date that we already did, the fiscal year, the project name, and all the information is already preloaded here. And note, do not click on recalculate. If you click recalculate, it will reset the stuff on the form, and you really don't want to do that, especially on the date and stuff. So just leave it alone, ignore recalculate, and you can scroll down and update anything as needed. And depending on if you're the MLRA office or the GIS specialist, you may answer these questions differently, or as you go through, you can change them. And I'm going to focus on, like, you can have a geodatabase name. Regional GIS specialists may have already inputted that. They have that option. And they can add any notes if they want. And so one thing you may have to add topology deck. And you can type in there's no gaps or overlaps if you already checked for those. And if you ran the Surgo QA tools, these will be the options for those. So if you didn't run the script, you can mark it. But maybe you did and your error correction in progress, or your errors found and corrected. So you can go through and mark these as the MLRA office, that person checking them. And it may be errors, corrections in progress on the compare spatial analysis map unit tools. And you found errors and corrected them for find common lines and common points. Maybe there's no errors found. You can mark that. And you can go through and do each of these options and know any of them. And then down here is the GIS and SDQS options that are specific for them, and they can fill out. But they can fill out any of the top two, and they can change things. And then who was it reviewed by? It can be the soil scientist or the project leader for that office. And so I'm just going to use soil scientist for right now, and I'm going to submit it. And so it submits, and that essentially just saves those answers to that data. All right. Then the regional GIS specialist comes along and they look at the data and they're scrolling along and they can update this too. And they already see that some of the answers are already done. And they're like, oh, the check attributes, there's no errors found. So they can change it. And so this is how all the answers are already saved. And they ran the compare and said no errors found. Everything's been corrected by the time it got to them. And they can do the same for find common soil lines. No errors found. And find common points. Oh, yep, and still no errors. And edge matching, no errors. So they can go through and they can add any notes. Any notes can be added at any time too. And maybe it's notes to the next person. And there's also anything about the metadata can be added at any time by the office to the regional GIS specialist to make sure they know that. And then the GIS person or SDQS can add this information that they're using now. And this is where they can select it and be like, oh, the GIS or the regional GIS specialist made the review, and they can submit it. And it will be, all those answers are updated. All right, Matt. Anything else to add?
Yeah, so when we looked at the first form, you notice that there was a small map and a big map. And so the small map, interactive map, is used to input the data, the essential data, to get it started. And then you recognize with the second form that we've got the bigger map, and we're using the bigger map here. That's because the data has already been entered. So you can identify, starting with the first form with the smaller map, and then the second form is for after that data has been entered. The metadata notes, the notes section, doesn't like if you were to throw in like the HTTPS address of one of your let's say LiDAR or NAPE imagery or something like that. It does throw an error. So we did notice that omitting those addresses allows the form to work fine. And you can also access this data through ARC Pro. And if you're interested in that, you can contact one of us for further assistance. So that's all I had. In conclusion, this minimizes the potential lack of communication between MLRA notifying all the appropriate regional staff. The intention of this tool is to bridge the gap and have everyone working on the same page from start to finish. Special Project Region is using this tool. The tools are available for anyone to use if they want to utilize it. They are an additional tool made to complement the region's workflow and would be facilitating the communication, the spatial location, and status to help prevent issues. Regions are responsible for and manage their own checkouts. It's important that special projects and regions complement each other's workflows and communicate to prevent version issues. All regions overlap special projects, and it creates a higher level of complexity. We all have the same goal to prevent version issues, and the new tools can help provide a visual for those who need or want to use it. The tool has been trialed for a year now, and we continue to collect feedback for improvements. It's not required by the regional office to use. The MLRA offices working with special projects will be utilizing these tools. I'd like to say a special thanks to Alena Stevens, Josh Rubino with development, Wendy Knoll and Mark Roloff for sharing transactional database workflow, the regional GIS community assisting with testing. Special thanks to the special projects staff for all the support along the way. And last but not least, thank you to Sarah, Neil, and Jennifer for setting everything up. Questions?
Excellent, excellent presentation, Alena and Matt. Appreciate that. A very interesting topic, and seems like it should be a real win for our staff to communicate and move things along. I am looking to see if there's anything published into the QA. We have one question here. It's kind of long, Matt and Alena. I will read it. We can reread it if we need to. Is this tool only for special projects? Regions have tools for tracking, checking out data that they maintain in their RTSD, and regions are still responsible for all surveys in their RTSD. They also have checklists and processes to ensure QC and QA are followed, and the proper parties are notified when spatial data is requested. Any thoughts on that one, Matt or Alena?
Yeah, Alena, I can take this one if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this tool can be used by anyone. Special projects obviously needed to have their own system to manage and organize our regional projects. This is what we came up with, and we wanted something that would complement the other workflows through other regions. So that answers I think the first two questions. But yeah, so if anyone wants to use it, they can. Again, we're looking for feedback, suggestions. We know other regions, some have things similar. So we're always looking to collaborate and make our tools better. That's how this one was originally designed, working with other regions and helping each other make our tools better. So yeah, we're all about collaborating.
All right, thank you for that answer, Matt. I noticed Sarah's posted the SharePoint link, so if folks have an opportunity to go on and try it out, please do provide feedback to Alena and Matt as you see opportunities for improvement or have questions. You know, this is just taking another shot at trying to create some efficiency. So. Any other questions for the group? Looks like Wendy had one comment. The Northeast region is using this tool. It's an easy way to track projects. So Wendy's a believer. It's good. Appreciate that.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Wendy.
Well, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, the Northeast and Southeast have been using it for the past year, so
Okay.
yeah, they've been doing great with it.
That's good to note. That way there's folks out there that are trying and making it work. So, all right. Well, thanks again, Matt and Alena, and your presentation and your time and efforts. One, to put the presentation together, but also the overall project. So thank you both for your time and efforts. On the screen here, you'll see the next save the date. The next webinar is scheduled for September 10th, 2024. And as always, we're always looking for topics and ideas. If there's a good field note topic that's out there, please do not be afraid to contact Jen Mason or myself or anyone that you think might want to help get this in line. So thank you very much for tuning in today and have a great rest of your day.